In a world where having children is presented as the ultimate expression of human fulfillment, where the question isn't if you'll have kids, but when there exists a growing population who have looked at parenthood with clear eyes and said unequivocally no. Not maybe later. Not if circumstances change. Just no. They watch friends transform their identities around their children. They observe the societal celebration of pregnancy. And they feel profound relief that they claim the audacity to design a life that looks nothing like what they retold it should. If you're watching this, you're either one of these people feeling validated that your choice is legitimate, or you're someone for whom parenthood feels as inevitable as breathing. But here's the raw truth nobody wants to say out loud. Individuals who definitively don't want children aren't selfish, broken, or immature. They represent a specific psychological profile that reveals how certain minds process life purpose, personal freedom, and authentic desire in ways that fundamentally contradict our prenatalist culture. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal will completely shatter how you understand choice and purpose. You might discover uncomfortable truths about whether your own feelings about children are genuinely yours, or elaborate constructions built from decades of social programming. Before we dive into the core psychological traits that define people who are absolutely certain they don't want children, let me ask you something. How much of the universal desire for parenthood is hardwired versus sophisticated cultural indoctrination? If you genuinely want children, have you ever interrogated that desire with brutal honesty, asking if it's truly yours or just what you're supposed to do? These questions sit at the absolute molten core of understanding the child-free psychology. To truly understand why some people are definitively opposed to having children, we first need to recognize the staggering social, cultural, and biological pressure that surrounds reproduction. This isn't mild encouragement. It's relentless, lifelong conditioning that starts before you can even form memories. If you're assigned female at birth, you're given baby dolls and told you're practicing to be a mommy. Little girls are asked what they'll name their future children, not if they'll have them. Boys are told they'll need to provide for their families, with the family's existence assumed. Throughout childhood, media, education, and family interactions position parenthood as the singular path to adult fulfillment and social legitimacy. By the time you reach adulthood, the pressure intensifies. If you're in a relationship, the questions begin immediately. When are you having kids? Are you trying yet? What are you waiting for? Family members make their expectations about grandchildren abundantly clear, often framing it as something you owe them. Religious institutions frame procreation as a moral imperative or even divine command. Governments create tax structures and policies built on the assumption that citizens will reproduce. The entire social infrastructure is built around the unquestioned belief that adults become parents. And what makes this pressure so insidious is that it's presented not as cultural conditioning, but as biological imperative, as natural law. You're told the desire to reproduce is hardwired, that everyone secretly wants children, and that those who don't are damaged or just haven't met the right person yet. This creates what sociologists call a prenatalist ideology, a worldview that positions reproduction as morally superior and childlessness as a failure or tragedy. People who express certainty about not wanting children don't just face disagreement, they face active hostility. They're told they'll change their minds, that they'll regret it, that they're selfish. Medical professionals routinely refuse sterilization procedures to young adults, paternalistically deciding that these adults couldn't possibly know their own minds. The child-free are systematically excluded from social circles, face discrimination in housing, and are portrayed in media as either pitiable or villainous. There is enormous cultural investment in maintaining the narrative that everyone secretly wants children. But here's the raw truth that makes people deeply uncomfortable. People who are genuinely child-free are unconfused or in denial. They've done something most parents never do. They've deeply, honestly examined whether parenthood aligns with their authentic values, temperament, and vision for their one finite life. They've arrived at a clear, unwavering answer that it fundamentally doesn't. This isn't a rejection born from hatred of children or fear of responsibility. It's an affirmation of a different life path that honors who they actually are. And this clarity emerges from distinct psychological traits. The first and most fundamental trait is radical autonomy in life design. These individuals possess what psychologists call a highly differentiated self. Their identity and values are generated internally through conscious reflection, not absorbed from external sources like family or cultural norms. They recognize the default life script: education, career, marriage, kids is just that, a default, not destiny. They critically analyzed this script and made a deliberate choice that the parenthood chapter does unserve their authentic goals. The second crucial trait is having developed robust alternative frameworks for finding meaning and purpose. For most people, children provide ready-made answers to life's biggest questions. Why am I here? What will outlive me? Children offer an immediate sense of purpose, identity, and legacy. These are powerful, legitimate sources of meaning. But prenatalist culture refuses to acknowledge that these needs can be met through radically different channels. People who are certain they don't want children have typically engaged with these existential questions far more deeply, precisely because they couldn't rely on the culturally provided answers. They've had to actively construct meaning through other sources. This could be creative work, contributions to a cause, mentorship, building institutions, or forming deep chosen family relationships. This isn't about being more evolved. It's about having genuinely different answers to what makes life worthwhile. Answers that are no less valid than the ones parenthood provides. They don't need to see genetic copies of themselves to feel their existence mattered. When you combine these traits: radical life design, autonomy, alternative meaning frameworks, and others we've discussed, you get a psychological profile that exposes something society doesn't want to admit. The desire for children isn't nearly as universal or inevitable as we'd retold. It's heavily mediated by cultural conditioning and unexamined assumptions. Many people have children not from deep, authentic desire, but from an inability to envision alternatives, fear of regret, or simple social pressure. And here's the truly raw truth. Research consistently shows child-free individuals report life satisfaction and well-being equal to or even exceeding that of parents, especially when the choice is made consciously. The narrative that they'll die alone and regretful is propaganda designed to maintain a prenatalist ideology, not a reflection of reality. If you're child-free, your choice is legitimate, ethical, and worthy of respect. You don't owe anyone children or explanations. If you want kids, that's equally valid. But I urge you to examine whether you truly chose it. Either way, choose consciously. I want to hear from you. Are you child-free by choice? What traits resonate with you? Drop your honest thoughts below. If this validated you or opened your mind, hit that like button and subscribe for more raw truths about psychology that question everything society tells you is normal. Next week, we'll tackle the raw truth about people who don't want to get married. You won't want to miss it. Your life has meaning on your terms. That's the only truth that matters.